When she screamed in my ear, that's when everybody saw how shocked I was. And, when I turned, I had to lean back because she was really close. She had many, many inappropriate words to say around my kids.
It's starting to feel less like a ballpark blooper and more like a script ripped straight from a Hollywood courtroom thriller. The woman the internet christened as Phillies Karen, the infamous ball snatcher, has taken her humiliation and flipped it into a legal war of epic proportions. After breaking down in tears and begging for mercy, she's now flipping the script. Forget forgiveness, she wants revenge. She's dragging Major League Baseball, social media giants, and even viral influencers straight into the courtroom spotlight. Her claim? Explosive. She swears she isn't just a meme. She's the victim of a global takedown, and she's ready to make the world pay attention. At a press conference that looked less like damage control and more like a reality show finale, Phillies Karen stepped up with lawyers at her side. Her hands trembled as she read a shaky statement. That night at the Phillies game, I didn't just lose a baseball, I lost my dignity, my career, and my freedom. Strangers scream at me in the streets. My kids are bullied at school. I can't even walk my dog without hearing cruel names. The room went silent before her attorney dropped the bombshell. Karen was filing a massive lawsuit. The defendants? MLB for negligence, Twitter and TikTok for fueling defamation, and influencers who cashed in on her downfall. It was a lawsuit that turned into instant internet chaos. Within minutes, hashtags exploded, memes flooded timelines, and Twitter lit up with courtroom sketches of Karen clutching that baseball like it was Exhibit A. Some mocked her shameless victim act, calling it the trial of the century no one asked for. But another wave of voices rose too, warning that maybe, just maybe.
What he should have done is this, honestly. If he had just, pushed her away into the stands. Yay, Dad!
The internet had gone too far. She may not be likable, one viral post admitted, but nobody deserves a life sentence for one bad moment. This isn't justice, it's cruelty. Sports talk shows jumped in. One ESPN analyst laughed, "If every embarrassed fan sued, we'd have no league left." But another commentator gave a chilling reminder, like her or not, Karen's fight forces everyone to ask, when does accountability stop and pure persecution begin? This isn't just about a ball anymore. Beyond the memes, beyond the parodies, beyond the late night jokes, the Phillies Karen lawsuit has cracked open a national debate. One stolen baseball has now become a symbol of something far bigger, the terrifying power of the internet to crown heroes, create villains, and completely destroy lives. With one click, this mess has snowballed into something way bigger than a stadium spat. Major League Baseball is still silent publicly, but insiders whisper the league is gearing up for war. One official even admitted off the record, if she wins, every fan who's ever gone viral could sue. It's a Pandora's box nobody wants opened. That warning alone has MLB's lawyers sharpening their knives. Meanwhile, the attorneys for Twitter and TikTok are flexing their favorite shield, Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. That's the law protecting platforms from being blamed for what users post. Translation? Karen's case might get tossed before it ever sees a jury, but here's the kicker. Legal loopholes aren't the real headline.
You took it from me! You took it from me! That was in my hand! That was in my hand! Bye. Nobody heard that!
Wow. This is pathetic.
Experts in sociology and psychology warn this trial cuts way deeper than courtroom technicalities. It's become a mirror for cancel culture, viral rage, and the devastating wreckage left behind when the internet decides you're the villain. One professor didn't sugarcoat it, saying, "We live in a world where one bad moment becomes your permanent identity. A meme isn't just a joke, it's a life sentence." And Karen herself doubled down at the mic, declaring, "I am not Karen Ball Snatcher. I am a mother, a wife, a person who made one mistake. And I deserve a chance to live without being hunted by a nickname." The crowd gasped, but the irony was brutal. Because here's the cruel twist. This very lawsuit, the one she swears will clear her name, has only made her more famous for all the wrong reasons. The harder she claws to escape the meme, the more it chains itself to her public identity. Every new headline, every courtroom sketch, every viral joke, her escape hatch just looks more like a trap. If this case actually goes forward, it won't just be another headline. It could explode into one of the most closely watched courtroom showdowns of the decade. We're talking a trial that tests the boundaries of free speech, digital accountability, and the scars burned into people by viral humiliation. Right now, Phillies Karen stands dead center in a cultural firestorm. To some, she's nothing but a shameless opportunist trying to cash in on her own bad choices. To others, she's a walking cautionary tale, living proof of how internet mob justice can ruin lives. And that's the real heart of the battle. It's not about who caught a baseball, it's about who controls the story once it goes viral, and whether anyone can ever take it back.
Hey, get out of there!
Yeah, she lost her mind. This woman completely lost her mind.
What started as a scramble for a foul ball has exploded into a cultural war zone, forcing us to confront the ugly questions we'd rather ignore. When does justice tip over into cruelty? When does holding someone accountable turn into flat-out persecution? And how much control do we really have once the internet slaps a digital identity on us? For Phillies Karen, this lawsuit feels like her last stand. If she pulls off a win, she gets to rewrite her story. Not as a meme, but as a survivor who fought back against a machine built to chew people up and spit them out. But if she loses, then she's locked forever in history as one of the most infamous viral villains of the decade. A woman not remembered for her real life, her family, or her truth, but for a nickname she never chose and can't escape. And here's the haunting reality. Whether you think she's a victim or a shameless villain, the world is watching every move. This trial isn't just about Karen, it could set the tone for all of us. Because in today's world, any slip up, any angry outburst, any stumble caught on camera can explode into tomorrow's trending hashtag. That's the nightmare she's living in real time. And if you thought the Karen Ball Snatcher saga ended with the memes, think again. This is only the opening act of a showdown between one ordinary woman and the ruthless court of public opinion. Every twist, every meltdown, every shocking revelation is going to be dissected and replayed across millions of screens. Because the bigger question is no longer if Karen will survive, it's whether any of us can survive when one viral clip can define or destroy your entire life. And to understand the chaos, we have to rewind to the exact moment that set this firestorm ablaze. It was a regular night at the ballpark, the air charged with excitement, the crowd roaring as every pitch cracked through the stadium. Then, in a split second, destiny spun out of control. A foul ball ripped into the stands, dropping like a golden ticket from the heavens. It should have been a sweet moment, a kid clutching a souvenir, a memory etched forever. But in one flash, that dream shattered. A hand shot out, fast, bold, unapologetic. The ball never touched the boy's outstretched glove. Instead, it landed in the grip of a woman whose face would soon be burned into internet infamy as Phillies Karen. The cameras zoomed in. The crowd gasped in disbelief. A boy's stunned face froze on the jumbotron, and right beside him, Karen clutching the ball, smiling as if nothing was wrong. That single image, a child betrayed, a woman smirking, was all the internet needed. Within minutes, clips ricocheted across Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. Phones lit up like fireworks. By sunrise, it wasn't just a foul ball anymore. It was a public trial, a digital witch hunt, and the birth of one of the internet's most unforgiving memes. Strangers who had never even spoken her name judged her, cursed her out, and tattooed her with a nickname she could never shake off. In that single instant, under the blinding lights of the Phillies stadium, what should have been a private choice turned into a public crime. Like a judge slamming a gavel, her fate was sealed, not by a courtroom jury, but by millions of strangers glued to their screens. That viral clip was only the spark, though. The real inferno came when Phillies Karen made the move no one saw coming. She marched straight from the bleachers into the courtroom, turning her humiliation into a war with some of the biggest institutions in America. Her lawsuit wasn't timid, it was bold, dangerous, almost reckless. She accused Major League Baseball of negligence, claiming the league didn't protect her from the crowd that turned her life into a nightmare. She went after the social media giants, blasting Twitter and TikTok for weaponizing their algorithms, spreading her downfall like wildfire, and turning her into a national punchline for profit. And then she doubled down, targeting influencers who cashed in on her humiliation, accusing them of monetizing cruelty itself. It was a David versus Goliath moment, her lawsuit as daring as it was desperate. Legal experts raised alarms instantly, reminding everyone about Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, the long-standing shield that protects platforms from being blamed for user content. If the judge leaned on that law, her entire case could collapse before a single juror ever heard her side. But if the court allowed it to move forward, the shockwaves would be seismic. Suddenly, anyone who had ever gone viral could sue, cracking open a Pandora's box that could rattle not just sports, but the entire digital economy. Behind closed doors, MLB officials were already bracing for war. Whispers spread of a legal time bomb that could shake the league to its core. Broadcasters speculated if the internet itself was now on trial. Newsrooms across the country framed the story not as a woman suing for dignity, but as a cultural showdown, one ordinary citizen daring to challenge the machinery of humiliation that powers modern media. The courtroom loomed like a gladiator arena, the stakes colossal, and the world held its breath, waiting to see if this unlikely challenger could survive against giants. When the cameras finally swung back to her, the woman at the center of the storm wasn't just a meme anymore. She wasn't the viral villain smirking on the Jumbotron. She was a trembling voice, a mother, a wife, a human being begging for compassion. Flanked by her lawyers, she unfolded a sheet of paper with shaking hands at a jam-packed press conference. Her voice cracked as she began, "That night at the Phillies game, I didn't just lose a baseball, I lost my dignity. I lost my career. I lost my freedom." Her eyes welled with tears as she painted the brutal reality. Strangers screaming cruel names at her in grocery stores. Her children bullied on the playground. Neighbors who once waved now crossing the street to avoid her. "I can't work. I can't shop. I can't even walk my dog without insults being hurled at me. My entire life has been reduced to a nickname I never chose." Her words weren't defiant. They were raw, broken, fragile. This wasn't the voice of someone chasing headlines. It was the plea of a woman desperate to reclaim even the smallest shred of humanity. "I am not Karen Ball Snatcher," she declared, tears streaking her face. "I am a mother. I am a wife. I am a person who made one mistake, and I deserve a chance to live without being hunted for it." For a flicker of a moment, the world glimpsed something different. Not the caricature, not the meme, but the human being suffocating underneath the weight of shame. A haunting reminder that behind every viral punchline is a beating heart. But the second her trembling words hit the airwaves, the internet detonated. Twitter feeds lit up like a 5-alarm fire. TikTok stitched her tearful press conference into endless loops. Hashtags shot to the top. Hashtag Karen lawsuit. Hashtag justice or joke. Hashtag baseballgate. The reaction? Pure chaos. One camp showed no mercy. Memes flooded timelines. Courtroom sketches photoshopped to show her still gripping the infamous baseball. GIFs of crying faces captioned, "Play stupid games, win stupid prizes." A viral tweet sneered, "She steals a ball from a kid, gets called out, and now she's the victim. Please." The ridicule was fast, sharp, and relentless. But through the flood of mockery, another wave began pushing back. Posts went viral not for the jokes, but for the warnings. "Do we really want to destroy someone's entire life over one bad moment?" one viral comment asked. Another post hammered home, "She may not be likable, but nobody deserves a life sentence for a single mistake." This isn't justice. It's cruelty. Sports talk shows dove headfirst into the frenzy. ESPN split down the middle. One analyst laughed it off as absurd. Another warned that Karen's lawsuit forced the country to face an ugly question. Where does accountability end and persecution begin? Podcasts buzzed with fiery debates. YouTubers dissected every word, every tear, every facial expression. Comment sections turned into full-blown battlegrounds. Two armies locked in cultural war, the mockers versus the mourners. And like every internet firestorm, the noise only grew louder. Every clip, every meme, every hot take pulled the nation deeper into the chaos. Phillies Karen wasn't just fighting for her name anymore. She was standing in the middle of a storm that was tearing the culture in two. The courtroom battle lines had been drawn, but outside those walls, the chaos was only getting uglier. Phillies Karen had tried to take back control of her story, but the internet wasn't letting go, not for a second. Every time she spoke, her words were twisted into new memes. Every time her lawyers filed another motion, hashtags exploded like fireworks across social media. News outlets circled like vultures. Morning shows aired highlight reels of her press conferences, splicing together her trembling voice with slow-motion footage of the infamous ball grab. Late-night comedians turned her plea into punchlines, calling her the first fan in history to sue an entire sport for catching a ball too well. And yet, while the mockery spread, something darker was happening under the surface. Karen's neighbors told reporters about the circus outside her home. Camera crews parked on the block, strangers pulling up just to take selfies in front of her house. Local restaurants whispered that they had to kick out rowdy customers shouting insults when she walked in. Even her kids weren't spared. One classmate filmed them crying and uploaded it to TikTok with the caption, "Even Karen Jr. can't handle the heat." The clip went viral in minutes. racking up millions of views and sparking a heated debate about how far was too far. By now, Karen wasn't just fighting MLB or social media platforms, she was fighting for her family's survival in real life. Her husband, who had mostly stayed silent, finally stepped forward in a rare interview. "She made a mistake," he said, his voice tense. "But the internet doesn't want accountability, they want blood. My wife is a human being and this has gone way too far." His words poured gasoline on the fire. Some sympathized, calling him brave. Others mocked him as Mr. Karen, adding his face to the meme factory that never seemed to sleep. Meanwhile, legal analysts began breaking down what Karen's case really meant. If the court gave her even a sliver of a win, it could open floodgates. Imagine every viral clip turning into a lawsuit, fans storming courts over embarrassing kiss cam fails, TikTokers suing over unflattering dance edits, even random bar fight videos leading to million-dollar claims. It would rewrite the internet, one commentator warned. And not everyone's ready for that future. The stakes couldn't have been higher, and the pressure only pushed Karen further into the spotlight she claimed had ruined her. With cameras flashing, she walked into the courthouse wearing sunglasses, escorted by her lawyers like she was a celebrity on trial. Protesters lined the steps, some waving signs reading "Justice for Karen," others holding cardboard cutouts of the crying boy with captions like, "She stole my childhood." The scene looked less like a legal hearing and more like a red carpet premiere for the most toxic reality show of the year. Inside, the tension was thick. Legal experts whispered that MLB's team had no intention of settling. They wanted to crush her claim before it could gain traction. Social media companies armed with billion-dollar defense teams planned to bury her under motions and technicalities. But Karen's lawyers seemed unfazed. One of them declared, "We are not here to debate memes. We are here to demand justice for a woman whose life was ruined by a machine that feeds on humiliation." That fiery statement ricocheted across news feeds, sparking both outrage and applause. And then came the twist nobody saw coming. A surprise witness stepped forward, an ex-employee of a sports broadcasting company, claiming that the infamous clip of Karen snatching the ball had been deliberately replayed on national broadcasts because it drove ratings through the roof. The revelation sent shockwaves through the courtroom. If true, it meant Karen wasn't just unlucky, she may have been exploited by corporations hungry for clicks, views, and ad dollars. The internet erupted again. Supporters argued this proved her case had merit, that she wasn't just a villain, she was a pawn in a much bigger game. Critics fired back, accusing her of using conspiracy theories to dodge responsibility. Either way, the story had grown far beyond one foul ball. It was now about money, power, and how far media companies would go to keep the world entertained. As the gavel slammed to adjourn the day's hearing, one thing was clear. This saga wasn't burning out anytime soon. If anything, it was only escalating. Phillies Karen was no longer just a woman clutching a baseball. She had become a symbol, a lightning rod in the battle over accountability, cruelty, and who controls the narrative when the internet decides your fate. And while her critics still laughed, her supporters whispered a chilling truth. Maybe, just maybe, the ball snatcher was about to change the game forever. The storm wasn't calming, it was only getting louder. And beneath the flood of memes, parodies, and talk show jokes, a quieter but far more dangerous conversation began to take shape. Legal scholars, policy experts, and sociologists jumped into the frenzy, dissecting what this lawsuit really meant. On paper, Karen's claims looked fragile, almost impossible. Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act has long acted as the impenetrable firewall that shields social media giants from liability for user-generated content. If judges leaned on that precedent, her case against Twitter and TikTok could be crushed before a single juror heard her voice. But if the courts allowed it to move forward, the fallout could be staggering. For Major League Baseball, the stakes were no less terrifying. A victory for Karen could force every professional league to take legal responsibility for the actions of fans in the stands. Think about it. One win for her could rewrite not just baseball, but concerts, basketball arenas, music festivals, and every live event in America. One insider didn't sugarcoat it, warning bluntly, if she wins, every fan who goes viral will sue. It's a can of worms no league dares to open. Experts discussed it clinically, their tone cold, detached. But buried in their analysis was a sharp edge of unease. Because this wasn't just about technical statutes, it was about something far bigger. It was about what happens when digital culture collides head-on with real-world consequences, cancel culture, viral outrage, mob justice. These concepts once trapped in Twitter threads were now being dragged into federal court. Suddenly, Karen's lawsuit looked less like a personal vendetta and more like a referendum on the entire digital age. How much control do individuals really have over their own identities once the internet brands them? And worse, is the law even capable of protecting people when a nickname becomes a prison sentence? And here's the cruelest irony of all. The very lawsuit Karen believed would free her has instead become the chain binding her tighter to the name she hates. Every headline announcing Phillies Karen sues MLB doesn't erase the meme. It carves it deeper into stone. Every legal document, every interview, every press conference makes her less of who she insists she is, and more of the caricature the internet decided she would be. That's the paradox of this digital age. Resistance is fuel. The harder she pushes back, the more the machine devours. Influencers slice up her testimony, slap mocking captions on it, and rake in millions of views. YouTubers parody her tear-streaked pleas for compassion. TikTok edits loop her sobs with trap beats and flashing captions like "Ball Snatcher strikes again." Even late-night comedians join the feeding frenzy, turning her desperation into another easy laugh. Her declaration, "I am not Karen Ball Snatcher," was supposed to humanize her. Instead, it was clipped, memed, and auto-tuned into viral remixes that spread faster than her actual lawsuit. What she hoped would liberate her has only turned into her newest cage. And yet, people keep watching. The case keeps trending, because behind the chaos lies a question no one wants to admit out loud. If Philly's Karen can't escape the meme, can any of us? I am not Karen Ball Snatcher. Her desperate plea was supposed to reclaim her humanity, but instead it's already been flipped into a viral TikTok audio, lip-synced by thousands for laughs. What she meant as redemption has been chewed up and spat back out as entertainment. This isn't justice, it's a loop, a cruel, endless cycle that devours itself like a snake eating its tail, feeding on shame only to regenerate stronger each time. And here's the dark truth. She's not the first to be trapped here, and she won't be the last. Online redemption, it's a myth. The internet does not forgive, it does not forget. It only remixes, replays, and rebrands the pain until there's nothing left but content. Every move she makes to break free of the meme only chains her deeper to it. The courtroom, once painted as her sanctuary, has turned into just another stage, another arena where Philly's Karen is on trial. Not the woman behind the name, but the character the internet created. The harder she fights to erase the meme, the more immortal it becomes. She thought she was fighting for her dignity, but now she's become its most enduring character. And beyond the meme, beyond the courtroom, beyond one woman's tears, lies a question that touches every single one of us. Who really controls our identities when the internet decides who we are? Because this isn't just Philly's Karen's saga. It's a mirror held up to our entire culture. We live in a world where reputations are built and destroyed in seconds, where one misstep can be captured, replayed, and weaponized against us forever. The camera doesn't blink. The algorithm doesn't forgive. Once the internet stamps a name on you, who among us has the power to strip it away? That's the real battlefield, not a baseball stadium, not even a courtroom, but the fragile space between private humanity and public perception. The thin line between who we truly are and who the crowd decides we are, and every single day that line gets thinner. Think about it. How many of us could survive our worst 30 seconds being broadcast to millions? How many could endure being defined forever by one selfish act, one clumsy mistake, one careless word? If we can't imagine living through that, then why do we demand that she must? The saga of Philly's Karen is bigger than a lawsuit. It's a prophecy. It warns us that in the hands of the digital mob, any of us could be the next villain, the next hashtag, the next meme burned into eternity. And the most terrifying part? The story is still unfolding. The courtroom doors haven't closed, and already two futures loom ahead like parallel timelines. In one, she wins. Headlines scream, Karen defeats the giants. Overnight, she transforms from viral villain into martyr, from punchline to symbol. Talk shows invite her not as a joke, but as a voice for victims of digital mob justice. A book deal, maybe even a documentary, reframes her humiliation as survival. Sports leagues and tech companies panic, bracing for lawsuits on every viral clip. The internet itself begins to shift under the weight of her victory. And yet even then, would she ever be free? Or would every interview, every camera, every question still drag her back to that night in Philadelphia? In the other timeline, she loses. Section 230 shields the platforms, the courts dismiss her claims, and the story fades from headlines, but not from memory. The nickname survives. Immortalized in memes, case studies, and classroom lectures, students will dissect her downfall as proof that the internet always wins. She will fade into anonymity, but not peace, forever chained to a viral mistake she can never undo. Both futures are terrifying in their own way, because whether she rises as a reluctant symbol or vanishes as another cautionary tale, the truth is the same. The internet already owns her story. The only suspense left is which ending the court will stamp in ink. And so the saga of Phillies Karen roars to its bitter crescendo, not just as a scandal about a baseball, not even as a lawsuit, but as a chilling prophecy about the world we all live in. In this age, justice and cruelty blur together, accountability and persecution walk hand in hand, and identity itself hangs by a thread spun from algorithms and outrage. Her fight, whether won or lost, isn't just hers, it's a reflection of all of us, because the real question isn't whether Phillies Karen survives this storm, it's whether any of us could if it were our turn under the spotlight. That is the tragedy of our digital era. We are all just one mistake, one clip, one hashtag away from losing the right to define ourselves. And while today it's Phillies Karen, tomorrow it could be me, it could be you. The gavel hasn't fallen yet, but in the ruthless court of public opinion, no one ever truly walks free. So I'll leave you with this. When the internet decides your story, who will you be? The hero, the villain, or just another meme? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button, share this video, and don't forget to subscribe for more. I'll see you on the next one.